Alright YouTube, we're here on episode 2 of the Husqvarna Vitpilen project build. We've been pushing through fabrication on episode 1, things are moving really well. In ep 2 we're going to start to map out the exhaust build, which I'll be doing today. We finished up the tail tidy so the plan on the seat can now move ahead, and Dylan's going to be working on moving those Footpeg forward. So that fabrication started already, we just got to brace that stuff up and make sure the linkages and all that work to get the riding position we want out of it. Further than that, we'll start to get a plan together on the colour and styling, which I've already started to think of, but we'll share that with you as well along the way. Before we get going though, I had a mate Groot from United Tools give me a buzz. He got a whisper that we were doing a series, so we're going to go catch up with him and get a bit of gear to run on this bike. Just on the way to see my mate Caleb at United Tools down in Burleigh. Groot's been selling me tools for a long time now, and I think probably United Tools are one of the more helpful little shops locally around on the coast. Guys really know their shit, and for someone who wasn't sort of doing an apprenticeship through the trade and stuff, having blokes like that's real helpful. So he gave me a call when he saw the first episode of the series, and we had a little chat about getting on board. So the phone call went a little bit like this. Hello?
Tom, it's Groot.
What's happening?
I saw you got a new build started.
Yeah, sure did, mate. Husky 401. She's on the bench now.
Well, I reckon we want to get on board with this one, man. I reckon I got some Makita gear here that's going to help you with it. I reckon we can sort you out with a few bits and pieces.
Say no more, fam. I'm on the way.
See you soon, buddy.
So I have the battery drill and dual driver already, the 18 volt brushless stuff, but I could use a battery grinder to suit.
Yep.
Maybe one of those right angle drills for the little tight spots on the bike. Perfect. And a jigsaw, but probably not cordless.
Just go corded with that one for sure. So that's your right angle drill, brushless grinder, and you've got a heavy duty jigsaw, tried and true Makita.
Alright, I reckon that's it.
I think that's going to be perfect, man.
Alright, legend, I think that's about I'll see you soon, thanks.
See you guys, see ya.
So with the bike stripped down and stuff now, I've started to develop a bit more of an idea on where we want to go with this project. So I'm sort of thinking along the lines of having like the most stylish motard that there ever was. So I want this thing to sort of handle like a dirt bike with street tyres, because those things are super fun to ride, but they never really look good. So I want to sort of bring in some more off-road elements like a high pipe. We've already got the motocross bars. So what I'm going to do is build quite a long muffler body. So I'm just going to sit and measure out this sort of thing, get a rough idea, and then start to fabricate the body, and then obviously we'll tweak the idea as it goes to make sure it suits the bike. We'll be picking up some mounts up under the tail here to hang the muffler from and stuff like that. So I'll take you through the process of like building the stainless steel muffler body, building the core, and then sort of packing the muffler and putting it all together as well. So measuring up on the bike, we'll have a 260mm long muffler core with maybe 80mm either end of a sort of cone. So you'll make an oval muffler body, and then coming down to the header pipe, and then you also make like another cone on the top to run out and sort of finish nicely on the muffler core. So I'm going to start cutting my tube up. I've got some stainless steel sheet in there that I'll use for the sides, so we get a nice oval shape on the muffler. First step though is to cut up some pipe and then split it down the middle so I can make my two sides of the oval. So when I was building my Sportster, I had a first crack at building like an actual muffler can. We do the torpedo mufflers, they're a very different style. So with these ones here, I split a bit of tube. I've got a 2-inch tube on the top and then a 44mm tube on the bottom. I think it's like 1 5/8 or something, I don't know. Anyway, then I cut 2 square panels to the side. and this line is to put a little fold in it. So I'll put it in the finger brake and just put like a small body line along there. It looks good on the muffler body, but it also helps the stainless to stop warping when I weld it. I had a bit of trouble on the last one of these that I built. When I started welding it along that edge, the stainless steel warped a lot. So hoping to try and avoid that a lot more this time by putting that strengthening line, which will hold it a little bit more rigid.
I'm working on the resets for the Vitpilen at the moment. We've taken 40mm out of the middle of these just to shorten everything up, and with the bars on the Vitpilen it's going to make for a better riding position. So I've just welded them up now, let them cool, and I'll grind them back, make them all look pretty.
So I finished tacking up the muffler body here. Sort of got a 260mm length, and then obviously the cones will be built on either end of that, but you can sort of start to see the idea. So we'll have a perforated core running through there with two-stage stainless and then glass packing. It sort of helps deaden the sound a bit better having that two-stage, and the fiberglass packing doesn't burn or blow out as much with the stainless steel in there as well. So from here I'll trim this up and prep it to be finish welded, and then we'll finish these welds back so it'll sort of look like one seamless body. And then I'll make a muffler core as well to start slotting in here, and then we've got to make the two of them work together with the end cones. So obviously got the body tacked up, finished making the muffler core. So perforated core, slip inside the casing, and then because I want to keep it nice and tight and we have quite a bit of a weird bend coming out through the frame to get to that muffler section, I'm going to put a slight bend inside the muffler body, so when the pipe exits, it's sort of going a little bit further towards where we need it to be rather than exiting straight out. So what I've done is cut two pieces to start to make that tail cone. Now I'll template just some small bits of stainless sheet metal, so I'll get some cardboard templates, cut that out, chop them out of some 1.6mm wall stainless, finish it back, and then start to weld it up. The last piece that we'll make is the end cone that meets up with the perforation, and then we sort of have this finish welded, and then the end cone welded onto this section, wrap it up with the fiberglass, slide that through, and then seal it up properly. So the end of our last work day, we finished up getting the muffler body sort of rough welded up, finished it back enough that we can move on to our next step. So what I'm going to do before I complete the muffler core and make the end cone for it is just mount it up onto the bike. That way we can get it where we're sitting, and once it's finished on this end we can start to link it up to the header pipe on the front of the bike. So I'm just going to go through those motions with Fabrication, making a little bracket, and then we'll start to get the header done as well.
So I'm just changing out the old sprocket here on the pillion. Jono over at Moto Products has given this to fresh fun. He's whipped us up that. So I'm just going to swap that out on the new wheel.
So I wasn't able to find one of the FMF or Pro Circuit power bombs that I was chasing. It just got a bit too much of a pain in the ass to try and source one. So we're just going to link that up with a nice stainless steel header. We're going to keep the CO2 sensor and stuff like that on the front when we come to tune this thing. So we'll move on with finishing this muffler off, and then probably later on in the day we'll start doing a bit of seat and tail light design as well. So I've just gone through and started to finish back these welds on our muffler cone here. I've got to fill in a few little bits and pieces there, just so once we finish this back it'll look like one single piece. And then we'll put a weld around the tip because I want that to be visible, and then once we finish this back to a nice flat surface, we'll prep the muffler can, prep the end cone, and then we'll just do one single weld around that perimeter of this joint, and that'll stay there as it is as well. So I just finished up sanding back the muffler tip, so it sort of looks like one nice little piece now. Put my weld around the tip there, and I'll start fitting this onto the body. I like to sort of leave a few welds because the thing is handmade, and if you finish it back and it looks like it was made in a factory somewhere, it sort of loses its touch that it was done in our shop. So I'll leave this weld here, and then we'll work on making this nice and leave that weld and just brush finish it when she's done, and then we'll slap it on the bike and start building that header. So as I came to fit up this end cone on the muffler here, there was a little bit of gap around the top. I think when we welded this cone together, it shrunk in a little bit. So what I've had to do to make sure we still get a really nice finish is I've run a weld pass over it to bridge the gap. We sort of purged it up so we wouldn't get any sugaring on the inside. Ran that pass over, and then I'll finish that back. Now that it's finished back, we don't have any gaps to deal with. To make sure that the muffler body sort of matches, we'll run like a final weld over the top here. Probably get Dylan to do that because I don't really trust myself to do a nice enough job. So once that's sorted, we can get it on and header will start. Just started to route the header through the frame to come out and meet up with our muffler. The stock pipe on this thing goes up in size before the cat, and then sort of comes out through down into the muffler box and then out into the actual tail muffler. So what we've done with the header is step up the size as we go along. So it comes around the initial bend at 38mm or 1.5 inch, and then we'll step that up to 41 through the frame, and then 44.5, which is like 1 3/4 inches before we link up with this muffler. I think I was talking to an old guy that used to build exhaust for us, and he was saying that on high revving motorcycles it's important to sort of step that header size up to get the best out of your high rev range. So hopefully that will transfer to what we do here.
So this is the new air filter we've got from DNA. If you come over and look at the visual here, it's like a 2-stage air filter that we've got often, and that lid actually will become another air filter. So apparently this air filter will give you up to 4 extra horsepower for the mid-range. That's going to be huge on a bike.
So I've finished tacking together the header. I'm going to go ahead and start finish welding this and then get it linked up to the muffler as well. Waiting on a V-band and stuff like that, so we won't be able to 100% finish it today, but when we come back for episode 3, we'll be moving on with getting the powder coated swing arm back on, remounting the foot pegs, finishing the exhaust up completely. We'll give it a run so you can hear how it's sounding. Then we'll carry on with the rest of the mods and start designing brake light and stuff as well. So thanks for watching this ep. We'll be back next time with a bunch more shit that we're going to be doing on the Husky Vitpilen. So like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one, and we'll see you then.